people find themselves in toxic relationships because they ignore red flags when dating. What red flags are you ignoring? Welcome to Love Lessons with Team Dean, where love is intentional and relationships are built to last. My love, what will we be discussing in this week's episode?
Well, beautiful. Today, we're going to be talking about dating with a purpose. In part one, we talked about how we must be intentional. But in part two, we're going to talk about having a standard, setting boundaries, discernment, being able to discern when this person is just not the person for you, and being able to recognize when somebody is just there wasting your time.
I totally agree with you, my love. And I think how we should start this conversation is by answering your initial question. What red flags are you ignoring? And let me tell you, sir, there were plenty of red flags that I ignored. Man. But the one that stands out to me the most is lying. When I found out he was a liar, that should have been the red flag for me to walk away. I didn't. I stayed. There was more lies and manipulation and more promises. And so for me, that was my red flag. The moment he lied is when I should have left. And what about you, my love?
I don't even know where to start with that. A red flag that I think I ignored. My mother, my family heard about her reputation before I even started dating her. Her reputation had preceded her.
Wow.
That she got around, that she jumped from one relationship to the next. Now, of course, when I started dating her, I quickly discovered that was brokenness. That's what brokenness looked like. But I ignored it because I thought I was Superman. Thought I can
love her past her pain and her brokenness.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. And a lot of people think that.
Absolutely.
But you can't heal people if they don't want to be healed.
That's good, my love.
Right?
And so, my love, I totally agree. When we see those red flags, we should stop avoiding difficult conversations. Call them out on it. I think that's important.
I don't think you have to call them out, babe. I think a conversation is okay. The idea is not to attack somebody.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I'll take that.
And I see this. This is concerning. What do you plan to do about this? Are you going to work on this? If
I see
they
what you're saying.
continue
That's
doing
better.
that,
then you call them out.
Yeah.
Okay, I stand corrected, my love. And
but
I appreciate you even saying it that way.
Yeah.
I totally agree. When you have clarity in a relationship early on, that is the standard. There are red flags that we see. And if I bring it to your attention and you choose not to acknowledge it or to even say, that's something I'm working on, then in that moment, then I know that this is a serious red flag. And if it is something that I'm willing to overlook, that's one thing. Yeah. And if it's not, then this might not be the relationship for me.
That has to be decided. Is it worth it for me?
Right.
If I don't see any changes, am I going to stay here?
Right.
Now, you've asked. Now, if you didn't ask them or even brought it to their attention, then you can't blame them. But if I had a conversation with you that I see you doing this, I see this toxic behavior taking place, it's a red flag to me because it goes against what standard I have. You don't fix it. Now that gives me the choice to say, hey, do I want to stay with this? Is it worth it? Is it fixable? Or is this an opportunity for me to get to step in?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that in that moment, like you said, that has to be a choice that you are willing to make. And I think it's also important to know that before you even find yourselves in that situation, what are you looking for? I think that's another thing. We do talk about being in a relationship, but what are you looking for? And I think for me, babe, if I even think about when I met you and started dating you, I knew I wanted to be married. I knew I wanted to be in a godly relationship. But what does that look like? And if you're not familiar, then you don't know what to look for.
Yeah.
You don't know that integrity is important. Someone who is honest and faithful. You want those things, but how do you look for them in a person? And so I think that's important. And then knowing right off the bat, do you desire marriage one day? Is this somebody that you can see yourself with long term?
Yeah.
Is this someone who God has brought in my life to build a life with? And if so, what will that relationship be? What is our foundation? What is our purpose?
I think one of the mistakes that I made, love, is I never did a great job at setting boundaries. My heart was always too open.
Neither did
My
I.
heart was always too nice. I always thought I can fix it. I've always thought I have to be understanding. I always
Love
thought
her through it.
I can love her through
Mhm.
it. We can work it out together. And that was just my belief. But unfortunately, she or they didn't think about me that way.
Mm.
I was an option. Those were red flags that I ignored. That you still keeping friendship with somebody from your past.
Mm.
You still keeping friendship with your baby daddies. It's extra curriculum going on, and you're secretive about it. You're not really discussing what you're doing until you show up with another baby.
Oh Lord.
Until you show up with another baby and have to explain that. See what
Mm.
I'm saying? So a lot of red flags being ignored. So one of the ways to resolve this is you have to set boundaries and saying there are lines that I'm not willing to cross. I'm not going to cross. And if you're not willing to respect that, I have to go my way, right? You have to set boundaries for yourself to protect your heart. Don't give yourself fully until you see that they are ready and they are in a place. Because sometimes we give all of ourselves, we pour out all of ourselves, we
Mm.
go head first while that person is casually dating us, while that person is treating us like an option. We are not a priority to them. While they treat you like, hey, I do if I don't. When you see it like that, then maybe you should withdraw some of your heart too and wait until you see the commitment necessary. I know incidents where people do that, but they're also dating around. And
Right.
that's not what I'm pointing out. That's not what I'm saying to do. But I'm just saying demand respect, set boundaries, demand respect. If you don't see consistency, walk away from it. Walk away from inconsistency. Walk away from lies. Walk away from disrespect. Walk away from secrecy. Walk away from it because you deserve better. Stop wasting year after year after year with people who already told you in so many words that they don't really want to be with you. They're just tolerating you. Learn when it's time to emotionally disconnect. Learn when it's time to
Wow.
leave. Learn when you are too drained to care. When you're just too drained to make the effort. When it's too much. Right? Set boundaries, protect yourself, and protect your emotional health and your mental wellness.
Oh my God, my love. You said that with such conviction. So I know that came from your heart. Boundaries protect your heart.
Yeah.
They do. Because when you set a healthy boundary, you are telling yourself and those that you set that boundary for to treat me with respect. I'm just not someone who is convenient for you,
Right.
for your purpose, for your plan. And we've seen that, and you can see that in other relationships, but I definitely see it when dating that I'm just convenient for you when you want me, when you need me,
Mhm.
but you don't treat me with the respect that I deserve.
Right.
And like I said, my love, you said leave. And I said that you said it with so much conviction because I know that we all have been there before. And so, listen, you have to love yourself more than that other person. And you set that boundary and you stick to it. And like my husband said, if they do not respect your boundaries and your standards, then you have to decide that I must leave because your standards should not disappear because you're lonely.
Wow.
So, what that means is just because you find yourself in a place where you are lonely and you want companionship, you should never lower your standards. Personally, I remember that season for me. That was the season before I met you, my love. And I found myself in one of the worst, horrific relationships that literally destroyed my life.
Yeah.
And that is what happened. I lowered my standards so low that it literally destroyed my life.
Wow.
And only through God's grace was I able to be restored and rebuild. But my everything from college, my life, everything destroyed.
Babe, I think I just pointed out to you in the other episode, the prior episode one, how because we were distance
Mhm.
apart, because you were in Ohio and I was here in Florida, and it allowed me a certain clarity that I had never had
Right,
with my discernment. It allowed me taking our time to build friendship,
right.
taking our time to become spiritually connected and emotionally connected and to become committed. It allowed me the time that I needed to get to know you, to discern whether something was wrong or something was right. Did I see consistency from you? To if there were any red flags, is there anything that I see as a red flag, right? And it allowed me to build friendship. It allowed me to not have to become emotionally dependent on you.
Mm.
And so I was able to love you because I wanted to, because I made a conscious choice to do so, not because we had physical attachments and because I was emotionally involved,
Right.
and because I have ignored all the red flags. I've gotten involved. I'm so blinded by your looks. I'm blinded by your body. I'm so blinded by whatever you do for me. No, taking my time and setting boundaries and us beginning to love slow. We love slowly.
Oh, I like that. Love slowly.
Yeah, we took time to build that love, build friendship first, then we build that love.
I
In
agree.
doing so, it allowed me clear vision, clear discernment.
I totally agree. And even in that, babe, I think loving slow and then having that friendship as our foundation, I learned your character before becoming attached to you because you were consistent. You were a man of your word. You were a man of integrity. And the way you presented was how you were. You I don't believe that I got your representation. Some people say, "Oh, the first 6 months you're dating somebody, you're getting their representative." No, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want someone's representative. I want the genuine person.
Right.
And that's what you were, my love. Your character, your integrity, your love for God and your love for people, and even your vulnerability in sharing with me the relationship that you have been in or relationships that you have been in and what transpired. And so that allowed me to love you wholeheartedly. And then also, we have to realize that we are in the world we live in is bombarded with social media. That is all that we see, and it promotes this rush sense of intimacy. You can't love a person unless you know them in an intimate way. Well, I've learned that true intimacy has nothing to do with the physical.
That's true.
True intimacy really is a spiritual connection. And it is someone who you are connected to them in a way in which your hearts become one. And what I mean by that is I can feel when you're sad. I can feel when you're happy. I can feel when you're down. It really doesn't have to do with being intimate with you in that sense, but knowing your heart and your spirit and your intentions. That is pure intimacy.
Yeah.
It's another level that I cannot even explain, especially if we're talking about spiritual intimacy.
Babe, I mentioned earlier that being apart allowed me to love you slowly, to build slow love. And we all deserve slow love. I'd rather start as a friend. I'd rather be sure of
Not friends with benefits.
No, not
but
friends,
a friend.
but a friend, a true friend.
Right.
And take the time to get to know who you really are.
Right.
And get to know what you really like. Get to know what your relationship with God is like. What is your relationship with your family like? What is your relationship with yourself is like? Get to really know you than rushing in and trying to build an attachment early without even using my discernment to see if something is wrong. I believe we all deserve that. I think some of us right now, we just need to slow down. We need to slow down. Our hearts,
good.
our emotions, our minds, our bodies are just moving at 100 miles an hour, and you just need to slow down. Slow down. Take a moment. Take a break for yourself. Take some time out to love you. Take some time out to ask yourself the right questions. Take some self-evaluation. Take a time from relationships. Give yourself a second to breathe and to
That's good.
recover.
That's right.
Get you find your peace again. But stop falling in love so quickly. Stop falling in love with everybody that just comes along. Yes, we all deserve love. Yes, we do. We all deserve companionship. We all deserve to be with somebody that we can spend the rest of our lives with. But don't be so quick to do it. Take your time. And when I say take your time, I don't mean 7 years, 14 years. I'm talking about take your time building that friendship. Take your time with the intention, though. With the intent that I'm taking this elsewhere. With the intent I want this to go where God intended for it to go. That I'm not wasting your time. I'm not just here casually. Evaluate your patterns. What have I been doing that I need to stop doing?
That's good.
What do I need to change? And that's what we had to do. What did we have to change? I don't remember if we wrote it down or we just talked about it, but we definitely identified what we had been doing wrong the whole time, what the cycles that we had been repeating in all those other relationships. And we had to go to the Bible
You did.
to understand what God actually wanted and said about relationships and marriage.
I totally agree, my love. What you said was just so profound because you have to understand that some people, you find yourself in these relationships, right? And like you said, you need to take that time for yourself. You need to learn who you are and what you want and what you desire. And so, and before I did that, I found myself in the same relationship over and over again.
Wow.
And not getting what I wanted. And it was like,
it just feels familiar. I did this before.
yeah, I've done this before.
Yeah.
And then I really had to take introspection, my love, and was like, am I the problem?
Mhm.
And that's hard to do. I didn't know how to love. I had this broken concept of relationships and dynamic between a man and a woman and what love really was, right? And so I did. It's important to take that time to make sure that you are building character over charm, right? That you are looking inward and saying, let me make sure that I'm not in these dead end relationships, that I'm being intentional. We need to date reality, not fantasy.
Wow.
And that's what I was doing. I think I was dating what I don't even know, babe. It was that bad.
Wow.
It really was. And so when we're dating, in reality, what we're doing, we're looking at this person, not for what you want them to be, not for who you think they should be, but who is the person that is before you? Who is the person that you have decided to date?
Right.
So, and some of us, we do, babe, we have all these ideas of what a relationship should be. We do. And so we can find ourselves attracted to what I call blind wisdom, which means you see this, but you're blind to it.
Yeah.
So, for instance, your heart of hearts, this is not wisdom. I'm making a bad choice. This is not what I want. This is not what I desire. But your attraction is, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just go with it anyway because I don't want to be alone. And so we're looking at a person's looks and how they look and how attracted we are to them instead of their character and integrity. And I'm not going to sit here and say that looks are not important. I'm not going to ever say that because you want to be attracted to the person that you're with. But the one thing that I learned, I had a conversation with a close family member just the other day, and she was sharing with me about her newfound friend. And she was talking about that he checked all the boxes except for one. But she knew that he was a good person. And she was talking to me, babe. She said, he makes me happy. And he's kind to me. And he's a gentleman. And he's loving. And he's a good father. And she was even able to say, I have this checklist. And he might be 9 out of the 10. But I'm going to go with that 9 because I see him. I see who he is. And so that stood out for me.
Yeah.
Because I realized she's intentionally dating, and
Right.
so is he.
Yeah. You know how I feel about checklists. The reason for that, I think you should have standards, and I think you should have a list of things that you're not willing to compromise under no circumstances.
Absolutely.
But it can't be crazy stuff. It has to be stuff that really will impact you in such a way, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, that you just can't compromise that.
Right.
But I'm not talking about certain shows that pop the balloon just because a person's shoe don't look good or a person don't have your hair not fixed right. They're not wearing good glasses. My point is, some things on your checklist can be changed. You can be the person to inspire change. It can be fixed. Don't eliminate yourself. Or don't eliminate an opportunity to receive your spouse or to find the person that God has for you just because you have a long laundry list of what you want or what you don't want. I'm not saying compromise. I'm not saying diminish your value. I'm not saying to do that. But I'm saying that be realistic not fantasy, as my wife said earlier.
Yeah.
Be realistic. Live in the real world. There was a time when the people that I was around, I didn't see any young woman who didn't have a baby.
Mhm.
And so I start to accept the fact that there's a possibility that the person that I meet and date and marry was going to already have children.
Mhm.
That was my reality. But I was willing to compromise and open up to that because there was what I saw around me, right? And then I met you, and God, you didn't have any children, so that was different for me. But the point is, you don't hold yourself up for the rest of your life just because you so hell bent on a long list of things. One of the red flags that we ignore a lot is when a person try to hide themselves from you. They don't want you to get to know them. They don't want to make the time to allow you to get to know them. They're extremely vague with the information. They don't open up, right? They don't share much with you.
Good.
Somebody who wants to marry you and wants to have a long-term relationship with you, who wants commitment, they want you to know the truth about them. They want you to know everything about them. They want you to be transparent, and they want to be transparent with you.
I totally agree, my love. And that's where I was when I met you. I wanted a safe space because I don't think I ever really had that in a relationship. And it might not have even been the person that I was dating. Maybe I didn't trust them enough. Maybe I didn't trust myself enough to be vulnerable in that way. And when I met you, I was able to take down all of my walls, and I was able to be transparent about everything in my life, even those things that were hard, those things that I carried guilt and shame. But I was able to come to you and share that with you. And you always made it a safe space. So I think that's important too, babe, when we're talking about those red flags and we're talking about what type of relationship. You want to come as your full self and you want to be vulnerable.
Right.
But you want to make sure that the person that you're sharing that with, no matter whatever happens in that relationship, that they would never expose that vulnerability as well.
Right.
So that is important too, my love. That it's not always easy to come as your authentic self because you don't know what the intention of the other person is.
Right.
And so for me, that was a struggle. But when I met you, I was able to put down my walls and just be me. And it was like, hey, if he loves me for me, great. If he doesn't, oh well.
Awesome. So, babe, tell me now from your own perspective.
Absolutely.
It has been many years now,
Many.
right?
Yes.
From your perspective, my love,
Yes.
what does intentional dating look like to you?
Ooh, that's good. For me, intentional dating would be getting to know the person genuinely. And what that means is I hear people say, I don't want to raise a man, or I don't want to teach a man, or I don't want to have to go through that with her, or I don't want to have to. But I think it really is intentional dating is building that foundation of friendship. And then also in that friendship, you build a certain level of respect and you also and trust.
Yeah.
Because without trust, you cannot have a relationship.
Right.
So you're intentional about building that trust, making sure that she can trust you, making sure that he can trust her in the sense of not just with your heart, but trust what you say, trust what you do. If you leave your phone here and I happen and it goes off and I look, are you getting text messages from other women? Y'all, please stay out them phones.
Are you paranoid of me being close to the phone?
That too. But listen, don't go looking in that phone because you're going to find it. Don't do that. But listen, no, but honestly, yes, babe. Like that too. So for me, intentional dating is building a friendship built on respect and trust. That's number one for me.
Okay.
And I think that building on that, if we are believers in Christ, then you build on that. You build your relationship. You have prayer together. You read your word together. You really bond together because if the purpose is marriage, then we need to know where we both are spiritually.
Yeah.
And that's important.
For me, my love, intentional dating, after going through so many years of messing up and failing and finally meeting you, where I actually learned to intentionally date, to me, intentionally dating look like having mutual respect,
Mhm.
making mutual effort. I can't be the one doing all the work
That's true.
trying to build this relationship. I can't be the one doing it. It can't be a one-sided thing. It
Absolutely.
looks like consistency. Can I
Mhm.
consistently depend on you? Are you dependable? Do we have clear communications? Am I texting you, calling you, and you never responding? Are you vague when I reach out to you?
Right.
Do we share equal value, or at least close to it? At least, do we share equal value? Do we have emotional maturity? Can we have a
Right.
conversation? Do you have emotional intelligence? Can we talk about things without blowing up and acting
That's
crazy
true.
and
All of
wanting to
that.
fight? What else do you think dating and intentionally might look like?
Absolutely. As I stated before, spiritual alignment, making sure that we are both spiritually on the not even the same level, but just making sure that spiritually we have the same mindset,
Mhm.
that we are equally yoked. Also, accountability. That's important, babe. If I'm wrong, I want to be accountable, and vice versa. If you're wrong, that's important to me. Also, long term thinking. I never forget, that's why I always say you were just a different kind of man. I remember when I met you, you asked me about a 5-year plan. I'm like, 5 years? I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow, let alone 5 years. But that's the type of man
Yeah.
that you are. And so that's important. Long term thinking. Where is this going in the long term?
Right.
Are we looking at marriage?
Yeah.
And even in marriage, there are many people, babe, who are married but don't desire children.
Mm.
So do we want children? Also, the purposeful pursuit, like you said, it's got to be equal. I want to know that I love you just as much as you love me.
Right.
Right. And then also, when people are intentional, it creates clarity and not confusion.
Wow.
And I never had that with you. And I'm only going off of my personal experience because you were always intentional. I always knew where you stood. I always knew what you desired. And there was never any confusion in that matter.
That's good, baby. When people are intentional, it creates clarity. It doesn't create confusion.
Absolutely.
It doesn't create insecurity.
It doesn't.
It doesn't create division. It doesn't create brokenness. It doesn't create lies. It doesn't create the things that destroys a relationship. When you're intentional, you want to be transparent.
That's right.
You want to be honest. You want to communicate.
You do.
You see what I'm saying? You want to share your heart. You want to make sure there's clarity and nobody's confused about anything. Just so you would understand, this is what I actually meant, babe.
Right.
That's not what I intended.
Right.
That's what people who are intentional will do.
Oh, it's beautiful. And the right relationship should not consistently leave you emotionally exhausted. I can't express that enough. I never want to diminish anybody's experiences when it comes to relationships and love.
Mm.
But I strongly believe, babe, because the Bible says that God so loved the world. The Bible talks about the love of God, right? And I do not believe that love is supposed to be painful, that love is supposed to hurt. So I think it's important that you stop wasting years in confusion.
Yeah.
If you're with somebody and you've been with them 5, 6, 7 years, if you're not happy, sit them down and have a real conversation with them.
Mm.
Protect your emotional health, because being tied to this person, all it's doing is damaging you. It really is.
Yeah,
It's
yes.
hurting you, and it's making you think, am I not good enough to be a wife?
Right.
Am I not good enough to be a husband? What does that mean? Be intentional with your time. Be intentional with your energy. And most important, be intentional with your heart, because our hearts are often broken because we are not in healthy relationships. And to be in a healthy, godly relationship, it requires wisdom and direction.
It does.
Right? It really does. And dating without a purpose can cost you years that you cannot get back. That's the truth.
And so, my love, once again, I invite people who are listening to join us or continue the conversation
Absolutely.
in the comments.
Please.
Are
we
you
will love
dating
that.
without a purpose? And that's important, babe. Why? Because love is a daily decision. And so we must continue learning. We must continue growing. We must continue choosing love.
I love that.
We love you all. Take
God
care.
bless.